First tonight, Washington is known for irony, but what we're about to tell you is truly a new level. The biggest threat to the current Democratic agenda is another Democrat, a very old Democrat, and we are not talking about Joe Biden. Today, the White House announced more nominees to the federal courts, except their nominations and those of at least a dozen others are going precisely nowhere, because longtime Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein still can't come back from sick leave. And no one is angrier about that than fellow Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Feinstein should retire, a.k.a. resign. I think criticisms of that stance as anti-feminists are a farce, Ocasio-Cortez wrote. Quote, her refusal to either retire or show up is causing great harm to the judiciary, precisely where reproductive rights are getting stripped. That failure means now, in this precious window, Dems can only pass GOP-approved nominees, of which there aren't many. Think about that for a second. Young versus old, Democrat versus Democrat, woman versus woman. Democrats hold an 11-10 advantage on the Judiciary Committee. They need all 11 votes to get judges out of committee. With Feinstein's absence, it is now 10-10. She's been gone 51 days. You'd think Democrats could just replace her, but that would require Republican consent, which, shockingly enough, isn't happening. Even the New York Times daily podcast did an entire show on the situation. Democrats literally don't know what to do. In addition to shingles, Feinstein reportedly suffers from severe short-term memory loss. But calling her out on that opens up attacks of ableism. Having her still in the Senate means the only thing Democrats can do alone, appoint and confirm judges, now can't happen. NewsNation political editor Chris Stirewalt is here, along with Lee Carter, Democratic strategist, pollster, president of Mulaski and Partners. Good to see both of you. And I guess the double irony, Lee, is that even if she does resign or retire, in the words of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, there's no guarantee then that the Republicans will allow somebody on the Judiciary Committee to get the judges out of committee.
That's right. There's no guarantee. And this is a really big issue. And one of the most important things that can happen is the appointment of judges in this moment. And they can't get it done. So I don't think I say this very often, but I agree with AOC.
You know, I think about this, Chris. Al Michaels always says, I don't root for a team, I root for drama. And there is now this drama in the Democratic Party about old age, and it's not about Joe Biden.
I cannot imagine that all of our leaders need to be this old. The oldness is really profound.
It's real.
Yeah, it is like the early bird buffet at the Villages. It is like we're talking about advanced.
Well, they're younger.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. The guys rolling the golf carts down there could be the children of these people. And the gerontocracy that has developed and the inability to get to the next generation of leadership. Look, AOC is being thirsty. She wants attention. She's doing this stuff. She's being impolite. She's being impolitic. But she's right. Ultimately, she's right that one generation has to step aside so the other generation can come in. But think about it this way. Dianne Feinstein, does she want to be forced from office? Does she want a congresswoman, when people in the Senate barely are willing to exist, that acknowledge that the House exists, that a House member from New York pushed her out of office? So does Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez make it more or less likely that Dianne Feinstein will step aside? Less likely.
And you have to sort of think about it just in terms of, as we've watched Dianne Feinstein in different interactions, sort of how involved she really is with what's happening. I think about, though, you brought up Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The only person who Alexandria Cortez really threatens and is a thorn in the side of, in the true sense of the word, is Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
And now all of a sudden, Schumer's now caught between defending Dianne Feinstein or giving AOC what she wants.
Yeah, it's a really tough position to be in. And when you look at the attention that she gets, AOC gets so much attention, and she is like got 6% of people who align with her politically. It's a really, really small percentage of people who identify as far left as she is. And she's getting all of the attention. This is a really tough position for Chuck Schumer. There's no doubt about it. It's a really tough position for Democrats, but they've got to deal with it. They can't just kick this can down the road. It's got to be addressed. And I feel like maybe they've got to give a victory to AOC and say, let's do something here.
It's the Senate. When Chuck Grassley said that he didn't think that Feinstein should be forced out, part of it is partisan motivation. He wants the deadlock works in the Republicans' advantage. But the other thing is, these members of the Senate, these older members of the Senate, and this is not a new thing. We go back to Robert Carlisle Byrd of West Virginia. We could go back to Strom Thurmond. We can go back to all of the people who wanted to hit triple digits while they were in the United States Senate. This is not a new problem in the Senate. And there is if Chuck Schumer had to choose between AOC and Dianne Feinstein, he'd take Dianne Feinstein every time, because that's how they roll. That's how they get down.
All right, so thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.